There are around 52 posts per hour on Instagram on intermittent fasting. The world loves things that are black or white. Is it good for you or is it bad for you? But we forget to look at all the different shades of gray. I have noticed in my practice that women, particularly women during their reproductive years, do not respond to intermittent fasting as well as men. Today, I'm going to break down all the positives and negatives of intermittent fasting so you can decide for yourself if it's good or not optimal for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Eat, Burn, Sleep podcast. Today we are going to decode intermittent fasting. A study has shown that intermittent fasting can help individuals lose 2 to 5% of their body fat following a 16-8 schedule. So why do I not recommend intermittent fasting on the Eat, Burn, Sleep lifestyle? Today, I'm going to break down all the positives and negatives of intermittent fasting so you can decide for yourself if it's good or not optimal for you. I'm Yalda, I'm a nutritionist, I specialize in chronic inflammation. I'm the founder of the Eat, Burn, Sleep platform, one of the pioneering anti-inflammation lifestyle that has been healing people around the world since 2019. So from the beginning, I have made the decision to not include intermittent fasting on the Eat, Burn, Sleep platform because I come from an approach of first do no harm. It is a platform that is aimed at a wide number of people and I prefer staying on the safe side. I'll tell you how I realized that intermittent fasting might not be optimal. A long time ago, around the time where I launched the platform, around 6 years ago, I hosted an event in London and there's a lady who came and she was a young professional, very stressed woman in her 30s who had hormonal issues and was trying to lose weight. She started doing intermittent fasting and she did 16-8, 16 hours fasting, 8-hour eating window. And she told me that over the course of a week, she gained around 5 kilos. And she said to me, I don't understand what happened. What happened is the following. When we fast, 2 hormones are produced. On the one hand, human growth hormone is produced, and human growth hormone is the hormone of youth, of repair, and of fat burning. But also when we're fasting, the ancestral caveman in us has higher cortisol levels because we need to go and hunt for food. And in some individuals, the cortisol response might be higher than the human growth hormone response. And in someone like her who was already inflamed, who already had a very stressful job, who already had hormonal dysregulation, having higher cortisol levels probably triggered further the hormone cascade and led to higher cortisol levels, more fat accumulation around the body. Because of higher cortisol levels, that means more inflammation. Probably she had a lot of water retention, which would explain why she gained all this weight, which probably was not just fat, probably quite a bit of water over such a short period of time. So I have observed in my clinical practice that some people do well and some people do less well, depending on the fasting window. So to me, an optimal fasting window for everyone is 12 hours. And that is the window that is on the Eat, Burn, Sleep lifestyle. You set your last meal around 7 to 8 p.m. You have a 12-hour fasting window overnight, and the breakfast is between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. And this is a 12-hour fasting window that is, in my experience, safe for everyone. If you increase to 13 hours, 14 hours, 15, 16, 17, or 18 hours fasting window, the benefit of fasting can reduce and that cortisol spike can increase. I have noticed in my practice that women, particularly women during their reproductive years, women who still have their periods, do not respond to intermittent fasting more than 12 to 14 hours as well as men. So I never advise women to leave a fasting window over more than 14 hours. Men, on the other hand, do much better. But with men, again, what I have noticed is that their body gets used to it. So many men get lots of benefits at the beginning when they do 16, 18, but 2 years on, not so much. This is what I have observed. And they come to me and they say, oh, it doesn't work anymore. I think the body gets used to this. So coming back to intermittent fasting, why can it impact negatively female hormones? The first thing is higher cortisol levels can trigger the hormone cascade and have an impact on estrogen levels, progesterone levels, thyroid health, DHEA, and also testosterone, because women do produce testosterone. Women with blood sugar regulation issues like PCOS or insulin resistance, I find in my practice that they do much better with an overnight fast of 12 hours and 5 hours between meals, and maybe an afternoon snack that's low glycemic index so they don't have a big dip in blood sugar levels. But a 16-hour fasting window is definitely detrimental for people like that, according to what I have observed in my nutrition practice. It is super important for thyroid health to not have high cortisol levels. So the thyroid is a gland that's here, and it is responsible for our metabolism. If we have hypothyroidism, if the thyroid is not performing correctly, we can literally burn less and have a lower metabolism. Higher cortisol levels can lead to that. So we live in a bit of a snacking culture, which is, I think, really detrimental to health. But going completely the other way and doing a 16-hour fast might not be the solution to boost metabolism. I'm a firm believer of, leaving between breakfast and lunch. If you have a good breakfast that follows the Eat, Burn, Sleep meal planning, and you're having your protein, you're having your fiber, you're having your fat according to the portion that I share with you, and you're drinking your water between meals, you should not be needing a snack at 11 a.m. Now, if you have a very carby breakfast, you're going to get a blood sugar level spike and then a dip, and then at 11, you're going to be hungry again, might need a snack. But if you have a balanced breakfast, you should be fine until lunchtime between noon and 1 p.m. The snacking culture, grazing all the time, keeps blood sugar levels elevated, and perhaps people who are so used to snacking, when they introduce intermittent fasting at the beginning, it brings them some relief, but there is no need to go as far as 16 hours or 18 hours. You can just start with the overnight fast of 12 hours, so after dinner, no snack until breakfast in the morning. And then you focus on those fasts between meals and drinking plenty of water. And that should be enough to give your digestive system the rest it needs, to give your blood sugar levels the time they need to stabilize, and for your body to go into a fat burning zone and not always relying on sugar in the blood to tap for energy. There was a study conducted in 2022 that shows that 80% of people worldwide have heard of the benefits of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has been promoted as an amazing solution for weight loss. There are around 52 posts per hour on Instagram on intermittent fasting. So all of this are all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting, but very few people talk about the side effects for women who might have hormonal issues, who are menstruating, who have PCOS, who have high cortisol levels, who have thyroid issues, and so on. So you have to be careful. It is important to look at the fasting window, to look at the age you're at, to look at also your goals in terms of muscles. So it has been shown that intermittent fasting is not the best way if you're trying to build muscle. It is much better to have your meals throughout the day if you're looking to grow muscle versus intermittent fasting if you are looking to build muscle mass and bone mass. And also another thing to remember is from a business standpoint, I've seen a stat showing that there's a 15% growth in apps about intermittent fasting predicted between 2023 and 2030. So it is a business as well. And the world loves things that are black or white. Is it good for you or is it bad for you? But we forget to look at all the different shades of gray. And the shades of gray are mainly your age, your hormonal situation, your gender, and the fasting window we're talking about. In general, I strongly advise that everyone aims for a 12-hour fasting window. The body needs that rest. Sleep is absolutely crucial when it comes to weight loss. Go and watch my podcast about sleep and try and avoid grazing. If you're going to have dinner in an hour and you're hungry, just drink some water and wait for dinner time. Try to reduce the time during which your blood sugar levels are elevated by not snacking between meals, if possible. But there's no need to go as far as doing a 16-8 in terms of fasting, particularly if you're looking to build muscle. So from a muscle-centric perspective, a study was conducted in 2021, and it showed that intermittent fasting is a suboptimal dietary approach for supporting muscle protein remodeling and muscle mass. That means that if you're trying to build muscle mass, intermittent fasting might not be the best dietary approach. And what they mean by that is long fasting windows. This study has looked at eating windows between 4 and 8 hours and at 1 to 3 meals during that fasting window. And the conclusion was that that was a suboptimal approach from a dietary standpoint if you are looking to put on muscle. So in conclusion, intermittent fasting can present benefits when it comes to weight loss, but it is not the ideal solution to everyone. It is not a one-size-fits-all, and it is not ideal if you're trying to build muscle. It is better, according to this study that I have mentioned, to spread your protein and food intake throughout the day rather than restrict it to a 4-hour to 8-hour eating window. I hope you found this podcast helpful. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to share it with friends and see you next time on the Eat, Burn, Sleep podcast. Thank you so much to all of you for listening to this podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. It's always such a pleasure to talk about health because it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Looking after our health is a daily thing, just like brushing our teeth. We've got to focus on it, we've got to do it right so we can live better and happier lives. For those of you who are not members of the platform yet, we have a discount code for all our podcast listeners. You can get 15% off the memberships. Just enter the code podcast15 at checkout. And make sure to read all the articles and all the free content we have on eatburnsleep.com to keep you motivated and informed and educated about living an anti-inflammatory lifestyle.